Is 1:05 on December 2nd, 2025. I now call to order the Shaker Lane School Building Committee, Construction Manager at Risk, Pre-Qualification Subcommittee. I think at this time, can I have a motion for last meeting's minutes if everyone's read them?
Yes.
Yep.
So moved.
Can I have a second? Thank you. Second, Mike. Roll call. Sean, yes. Suresh?
Suresh, yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Motion carries. I think turn this over to Peter.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Good afternoon. You should see the screen. I do have an agenda. Just a quick update. The purpose of this meeting, when we set it up the last time we met, which was the 17th of November, we thought we'd meet just to check in with each other prior to the RFPs being. Oh, Mary Lee just joined, Mr. Chairman. I think I'll wait.
Sorry about that. I thought that the meeting was changed with the deadline pushed out. But anyhow, sorry.
Nope, it's fine. Good afternoon, Mary Lee. We're just on the agenda. We just approved the minutes. We're on item 3, which is just kind of an update of the project process. Last time we met on the 17th of November, we talked about meeting today because we were going to have the RFPs submission due date was going to be Friday, December 5th. Since then, we've adjusted that date. It's now due next Wednesday, December 10th at 2 p.m. So this was a quick check-in, and we can see that on number 5 on the agenda. Apparently, I misnumbered it. I missed number 4. But in any case, so all the notification letters have been sent out to the firms. I do need to catch up to send the thank you letters to the 2 firms that did not advance to the RFP stage. I thought I did that, but I looked at my files. I realized I didn't get that out. So I'll do that today, tomorrow. I'll get those out just for the record and thank them appropriately for their initial interest in the RFQ stage. We did have an on-site briefing session on Thursday, the 20th of November. It's a good turnout. I think a lot of the firms were happy to get a feel for the site. Mary Lee was there. She provided some great guidance as far as the design of the project, answered some questions to the firms as we walked the site. Some representation from the school department was there. The business manager was there to assist with some of the questions as well. We have had some questions that have come through to me. I've issued 2 addendums to date. You should have seen those. So those are answering some questions. Got some feedback from the CM firms. They appreciate the addendums and the additional time to prepare the RFP. Also, a heads up on the interview timelines and the dates and the order of which the interviews will be conducted, which is, we just, I don't want to say arbitrarily, but we selected the firms to be interviewed in a alphabetical order. So that's going to be scheduled, as you all probably recall, on Monday night, December 15th, and Tuesday night, December 16th. Starting at 7 a.m., 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, respectively for both nights, for all 4 firms. I do plan to issue an addendum number 3. I hope to get that out today. And I'm okay with, if the committee's okay with, extending the question period. We had it scheduled for today at 2 p.m., but I think based on the addendums and the quick action for the addendums, I'm contemplating and comfortable with extending the question period until Thursday, December 4th at 2 p.m. That'll give enough time for maybe another question or 2 if necessary. And then I can respond by Friday the 5th. That'll give them the weekend, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to update their proposals if there's any serious addendum matters, which I don't anticipate. Things have been going along, I would say, fairly smoothly at this point. if that's okay. If I can, Mr. Chairman, maybe just get a confirmation from the committee.
Yeah.
That's
Can I get a motion for a vote?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Seconded.
Thank you. Roll call. Sean, yes. I'm good with moving it to, you said Thursday, Peter?
yes, Thursday, December 4th at 2 p.m. for the last day of questions.
Perfect. Suresh?
Suresh, yes.
Mike?
Mike, I think stepped away.
Mary Lee?
Yes.
Perfect.
I'm good.
Perfect. The motion carries. I did want to call out real quick, Peter, that the name of the library is Reuben Hoare. So it's REUBEN space HOAR. Just to clarify that for the meeting minutes for next time.
Okay.
You just
Thank
have
you.
5C. Just want to make sure you have the spelling.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll
Yeah,
do
no problem.
that. Okay. Very good. Let's see what else is on the agenda here. So we talked about the questions, the addendums. We do know out of the 6 firms that did advance to the RFP, 2 firms have withdrawn. Everyone's aware of that. The last day of questions, the RFP submission date, as I mentioned, is shown right here. Wednesday, December 10th at 2 p.m. Interview dates, we talked about that. And then looking to probably be a longer night on the 16th after the last interview. I think at that point in time, it's going to be suggested that the committee meet after the last interview and make a ruling, or I should say not a ruling, that's a bad word. Make a summary score sheet and make a selection of the recommended construction manager to the full building committee the following night, the 17th of December at the building committee meeting. So I think if the committee could anticipate staying a little longer on Tuesday night, December 16th to make the final selection, I think that would be appreciated. So we can bring it forward to the committee, the full committee, the following night, if that's okay.
Sounds good.
With respect to questions, I didn't have that here, but I think I owe the committee some suggested questions that I could formulate and send on to the committee for their review for the interviews, and also a score sheet for purposes of filling in the blanks during the interviews and while reading the technical proposals for the committee members to use as an evaluation tool for the scoring of the RFP stage as well. So I will plan to get both of those to the committee the next day or so as well. And again, that's a suggested score sheet and a suggested interview questions. And that certainly can be edited if necessary. Are there any questions on that or thoughts?
Do we want to agree on the set of questions beforehand? My thought would be that we'd probably need to ask the same questions to all 4 applicants. So do we need to have some way of agreeing on what the questions are going to be in advance of the 15th or 16th, the 15th?
So if I could suggest something, Mr. Chairman, would be
Please.
if we meet like on the 15th, if we meet like 15 minutes earlier than the meeting start, like quarter
that's
of six, starting at 6:45, and then we can have a discussion and then move forward from there. What do you guys think?
That works for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I mean, they'll all have similar questions, but obviously if something gets said by someone in the presentation, it might spur another question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds good.
So when you send out the suggested questions, I assume there's going to be enough time for us to maybe mark it up or make additional suggestions and send it back?
Yeah, I would, yes.
Yeah.
And maybe send them directly to me. I'll send them to you. We don't know how to have a committee discussion on email. So just send them back to me. I'll consolidate and send back another version if there's any major edits for everybody to have a review. then we'll have copies available for the meeting on the 16th.
Okay.
That's funny. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, on November 20th, there was some email correspondence about some suggested questions to ask them regarding abutter issues. So if you could just please make sure those are on the initial list of questions.
Okay.
Good
Thank
thought.
you.
Is there any best practice with follow-up questions? I agree with Mike. I think it's good to be able to follow up if we have a question on something. Do we need to have the questions be standardized across all four as to not have any favoritism, or is that not really how this process works? I just want to make sure we're following whatever the recommended process is.
I would suggest that because the people that they're bringing to this interview are the people that you're going to be working with every single day for literally years, it's important for at least some part of the interview to be more of just a conversation style, getting to know them, seeing how the chemistry, so to speak, is, to see if there's just a good communication, just a good vibe between the people in the town and myself and the OPM and the GC people.
That makes sense. Great.
Yep.
Thank you.
If I could, committee members, while that discussion that Mary Lee just mentioned is in front of us, do we want to set up, I think it's a good idea, and I can send this out in the addendum in preparation for the interviews. What is our look ahead timeline for the interview breakdown? For example, do we want it to be 50 minutes? I think we talked about 50 minutes total. Maybe it's 25 minutes for the presentation, 10, 15 minutes for questions. Maybe it's 20, and maybe it's 5 minutes for closing remarks. I think it's important because we have interview after interview, and we want it to be structured, but yet we want it to be, a fluid conversation, not so regimented, but keep ourselves and keep them in the queue for the respective timelines so we can ask and have a candid conversation and a fluid conversation. And they can have a presentation set up for 20 minutes if that's the timeline, or 25. And if we have, let's just say we have 8 questions, we have adequate time to ask the question and say a 2-minute response for each question. That's 16 minutes in and of itself, which sometimes goes on and back and forth. And then, of course, we want to have closing remarks. So I'm throwing this out on the table for consideration by the committee, how they would like to see the interview broken down. And if 50 minutes is, the start to end, because we do want them to tear down, then we want the other company to come in and set up. It's going to be a late night, and just want to make sure we have some sort of timelines. Any thoughts?
If I may, Mr. Chairperson, I think that's a great idea to have the 20 minutes and then, 2 minutes per question, approximately, give or take, and that gives you 20 minutes. That's 45 and 5 minutes of closing. I think that's a good breakdown, Peter.
Great.
Yeah, I think it's possible that some of the questions will be answered during their presentation. And so then that frees up some of the questions to maybe go a little bit longer. And then sometimes, they'll be answering a question and then it, leads to answering another question. And so then at the end, if we just make sure that every question has been answered, even though some of them may have been answered pretty organically during this process, I think it'll go well.
That's a great point.
Okay. It's overall 50 minutes is our window.
Okay.
So does that sound appropriate to everybody? And then we'll break it down. I say 5 minutes. Yep. So, and then we got 45 minutes. So then 25 minutes or so for presentation, and then 20 minutes for questions, and then 5 minutes for closing remarks. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll make a notification in the addendum to the firms so they're aware of the structure of the interview. Okay.
So I just want to point out there's a pretty short amount of time between when we receive the RFPs and when we do the interviews, and I think it's important that we set aside enough time in between there to really take a close look at all of the RFPs. These are also, they're really lengthy. And so I'm wondering if there's some way to sort of break up that work. Like maybe a few of us look at certain sections of it or something like that. I don't know if anyone has any suggestions.
No, it's a good thought. Is there, yeah, do you have any suggestions for how to break that up, Mary Lee? I think that's a great idea.
I mean, I've got my personal sticking points that I look for, and I'm sure the OPM does too. But I don't know if there's a more organized way that we want to break it up.
I think we should all read it completely on our own because I think, we got 4 days and we got 4 proposals coming in, so it should not be, after a while they pretty much become, very organic anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just know that it's a time commitment. So just as long as people are aware of that in advance.
Appreciate that.
Are we setting the meeting to start at 7 p.m.? Well, before I get to that, do we want, or do we think we need as a committee to meet before the interviews? We think we're in pretty good shape. With that said, before you answer that, maybe a little back and forth here. If we do not meet before the interviews on the 16th, do we want to meet and start the meeting prior to the interviews, which start at 7 p.m. on the 15th?
I like the idea of meeting at 6:30 those days, if that's possible for people. I don't know if that's too much to ask, but I think 6:30 is when I booked the room for, just to give us the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if any of us notice any red flags or any, issues that we want to be sure to talk about, that would be a good time to bring them up.
Okay.
As we're reviewing the proposals, I mean.
Okay, so with respect to the agenda and the next meeting, it will be Monday, December 15th at 6:30 p.m. at the library, the Rubin Library in Littleton. And it's going to be, I forget the room number. Sean gave me the room.
Yep, it's the Sturts conference room. So for those who are not familiar, you enter into the parking lot that has the town hall, the senior center, and then the library. If you go into the library, there's a set of staircases to your right. You go down the stairs and it's right in front of you.
I will make a note that I will ask the respective CM firms to be polite and cordial while it is a public meeting and it is open to the public, with all respect to each other's firms, that the firms waiting to be interviewed do not enter the public interview space for the purpose of the firm that is being interviewed to present themselves without any oversight by their competitors, if I could use that kind of arrangement. It's typically done that way. Firms are respectful of each other, and they will not, crowd their competitors. They will allow them to present their interview process openly without being, having oversight by their competitors, so to speak. So I will extend that kind of wording to them, and they already know that, but I'll just mention it again. I mention it out loud that everybody will be respectful for each other's firms. So,
is there a screen or something in there? Are we expecting them to present slides?
I did speak. Sean did reserve the room. The chairman did respect the interview room at the library. We have spoken with the library, and they do have technology set up, for the firms to come in and plug in HDMI, USB-C cables, things of that nature. And there will be a screen or a projector that they can project on if the firms elect to do a PowerPoint or presentation electronically.
Okay.
So they can just show up and slap down their computers or do handouts, whatever their method is both available to them, or both for that matter.
Yeah, this is a good size room. I don't know that we'll need this size, but I figure if we're making a public meeting, we might as well. My recollection is that there's a TV that you can connect into. We can just set up the front so we can face everyone. They can present to us. I don't recall there's a podium, but if there isn't, we could probably get one.
Yeah. So, okay. I'll clean up the agenda that's on the screen. We talked about most of the things on there. Any other business not reasonably anticipated? I think we kicked those things around as far as I'm concerned. Opportunity for the committee. If you have anything new that was not posted.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Nope. The next meeting date we've decided will be Monday, December 15th at 6:30 p.m. Next item is any public comments from anybody who's listening in or on the call.
Yep. I know that Jim joined listening, and then there's one other person. I'm not sure. I will allow them to talk if they want, but I don't think that there's any comment. At this time, can I have a motion to adjourn? Seconded. Perfect. Roll call. Sean, yes. Suresh?
Suresh, yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Mary Lee?
Yes.
Perfect. We're now adjourned. Thank you all.